What a Hall of Fame speech by The Undertaker. Let's talk about it.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like Orton's thinking he stinks!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
What is going on, everybody? It is a very, very, very special edition of In This Very Ring right here live tonight. It is your boy Ritz. Joining me is Mr. Ryan Brodo. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on tonight with me.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Ritter. It's a pleasure.
It's going to be one of the best pleasures in the world because we are coming right off the heels of Undertaker's incredible Hall of Fame speech. Without a shadow of a doubt, bar none. Hall of Fame on WrestleMania weekend is always my favorite thing of the year, just like Vince said, right? It's his favorite night of the year. You hear all the stories. You get to go behind the scenes and see the person that the superstar is. And tonight was no different. And The Undertaker got the best speech of what? They've been doing this since 2004, 2005. Right, is one of the first televised events right around WrestleMania 20. And so for the last almost 2 decades, this is the best speech ever. Absolutely the best speech ever. Before I get on my tangent, this very special episode is brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. Check him out, specializedphysicaltherapy.com, or his 2 locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's our doc, make him yours. That took us on a ride, Ryan.
I'm still speechless. Speechless.
I could run through a wall. Like, I don't get me wrong. I watched the whole thing, but I was sitting here playing Fortnite throughout some of it, right? I would stop when the actual inductee was out talking and all that. But then when it came time for The Undertaker, everything stopped.
Yep.
And I stood up, moved in front of the desk over here, and just kind of watched and just absorbed it all. And I don't think I sat down until probably he was 10, 15 minutes into talking. I just sat and stared in just awe.
Yeah, I mean, when I texted you, Andy, preface this entire thing, I'm not really a Hall of Fame guy. Like, I don't pay much attention to it. Nothing, like, no disrespect to the Hall of Fame, but it's like, It's a bunch of speeches. There'll be a couple ones that are way too long. There'll be one that's uncomfortable. I mean, credit to Scott Steiner for staying calm on the live mic, by the way. Kudos
keep
to
his
him.
Mouth shut.
Yeah, kudos to him.
Braun had the comment of the night, though. This may be career suicide, but I'm going to give my uncle a live mic.
Yeah. But this was the first time I made it a point to put everything aside and watch the entire event live. And it was for The Undertaker. It was like, okay, I'm going to be in front of my TV, in front of a friggin' screen, no matter what it takes to watch his. And it got me to watch the entire event. I thought the entire event was very, very good also. So credit to all the other, inductees. But I mean, if we don't need any other, example of why what we just watched was so special. I mean, you and I are doing an impromptu show. It's 1:12 in the morning here, and I am doing a show without an effing camera, and none of my all my equipment to get my face for radio on screen usually is in the other friggin' room. Like, it's like I didn't know what to do with my hands. I'm like, oh, show, okay, Undertaker, sure, makes sense.
We literally put this together in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, credit to us.
because you and Frank, we were all awake, and I was like, let's do this. And thank God Tom just happened to be awake.
Yeah, he was watching the speech. Of course. You think he's going to watch? He was watching the speech. He was
not watching the speech.
Okay, go with the bit.
But he was awake, so we got to do this. But it was just... And, all right, so here's what I knew. Undertaker was going to get a long speech. when the Steiners were the first ones out and they said they had 4 minutes, right? They kind of blew. Vader didn't get anybody to induct him. His family just came out and talked.
Felt like they had some more things to say, by the way.
I do too. I feel like everybody had more things to say. And I think Vince just said, shut up.
Yep. It's like, okay, here, we're going to show that armor and we're going to commercial.
And then when when Undertaker came out and he had the microphone like attached to him, that earpiece, I immediately knew. I was like, oh, we're going to be here for a while.
And we're getting a sermon. We're getting a freaking sermon.
And we really did. And Pete Evans was messaging me through the whole thing too. And he was like, he's up there preaching and I'm here for it. And I was like, this is like a TED Talk. If I find out Taker's going to start doing motivational speaking, I'm traveling again.
Oh, he's got a future in this. Listen, I know he said some things at the end, which maybe he doesn't need a new career. You know what I'm saying? But listen, if he wants to be a motivational speaker, I'll buy into whatever the hell he's saying.
Absolutely. And it was like, we talked about it in the text. Go back to when Hogan got inducted. And that was back when they did it late night on I think it was on USA Network back then. And it was like 3 or 4. No, Roxana, you're absolutely right. I will admit I cried. It was like 3 or 4 commercial breaks that this man went through where he didn't talk at all.
Yep. And
I think, Ryan, you had the time. It was like 8 to 10 minutes of him just standing there.
Yeah, you know what was eerie about it, Andy? It was that, I was trying to think of like the longest ovations in WWE history. And I think of Flair, right, in his retirement. I think of Shawn Michaels. But the only consistent, constant, non-interrupted, continuous crowd reaction I can recall that was anywhere close to this, and this is why it's eerie. Can you think, before I even say it, is there something that you can think of? And I'll give you a hint. It's more recent than old school, but it's different. It's the exact opposite reaction of what The Undertaker got. Where a continuous crowd reaction.
Was it Roman Reigns after 33?
It was Roman Reigns after he beat whom?
Undertaker at 33.
And it was the constant boos.
Yep.
Which lasted. Listen. They, like, the Roman, for TV constraints, he had to cut it short at some point. If they had the flexibility of time like they did tonight, it would have been as long as this. So, like, it was eerie that it reminded me of that because what's the constant in both? It's The Undertaker. This man, the Phenom, whatever you want to call him, The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, he elicits that kind of response. So I do not think it's an accident that the two most continuous, non-interrupted crowd reactions in WWE history, I would say history, at least in recent memory, both involved The Undertaker.
Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a testament to, like, if you think about it, how surreal was it to see Undertaker in the WWE ring in a suit and he just looking like the guy, and Vince introducing him as Mark Calloway and all of that. It didn't even take the ambiance away from it. It was still there, right? Him walking out, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, blue is not a color for WWE, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I know.
But him coming out and just everything, it was incredible. And you still had that eerie feel. And we were talking about it at work today. Me and a couple guys watch wrestling. And so we got to talking, and Undertaker is just that presence that has transcended the business. We've always talked about like Rock, Austin, Cena, Roman to a degree. These guys have transcended business and they're pop culture icons. This guy is right up there with him, and he did nothing but wrestle. He never did a movie. He never did, TV or anything like that. All he did was go out and wrestle.
And he barely spoke, too. That's the other thing. He let his work speak for himself. He would drop a couple promos here and there, but he was not somebody that was known for speaking. especially in his early years.
And speaking with such emotion and, inflection and passion, right? All his promos that he ever did, they were very dry and very to the point.
Yep.
Right? This one was just, oh wow, okay. I haven't been on social media yet, so I haven't seen Twitter blowing up or anything like that, because we've got Rob will say even non-wrestling biz athletes gave the respect to Undertaker's career. And that's the point, though. When you think about this weekend and what this weekend means to the wrestling industry, it doesn't matter if people were at the ROH show or anything like that. The minute Undertaker started, everybody stopped and watched.
Absolutely. I do when Rob brings up the non-wrestling fans and athletes. You brought up that you're talking to some people at work. I have I'll just tell you, because I want to get to a couple of these comments. I want to run through them, because as much as it's about us reacting, I want to get the people's reaction to it too.
Absolutely.
But to your point about it going beyond the wrestling hardcore fans or even the casual fans or the fans that this time of year, we always talk about the big four, especially the big two, whether it's Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and SummerSlam, Survivor Series. It went beyond all of that to where I received text messages as early as 9 a.m. this morning, mind you, from people that I don't usually hear from, people that I was not aware were wrestling fans until today. I got text messages right before he was coming out, all during, and a lot afterwards, from text messages from this morning being like, "You watching tonight?" And I, not knowing they were wrestling fans, being like, watching what tonight? And then they're like, The Undertaker. And then we would have a conversation about, oh, I didn't know you were a wrestling fan. And then a couple people would be like, oh, I am. And others simply saying, I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm an Undertaker fan. And I got goosebumps when I read it for the first time this morning. And I got goosebumps when I just said it now. Because I know for a fact the text exchange I had today, I was not the only one who had those. I'm sure people all over the globe shared those exact same experiences and conversations.
Yeah, and I know what these people, what they mean when they say, I'm not a wrestling fan, I'm an Undertaker fan. Mm-hmm. And it's because, there have been so many, and take me out of the wrestling world for a minute, look at so many different TV shows and things like that. All those different shows, I have watched series finales or season finales or iconic moments because I'm a fan of the work. I may not watch it all the time, I may not know it, but it's iconic and it's something I'm a fan of. And I like those kind of moments. And that's what a lot of people today were.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So I want to start with a couple of these comments real quick. I'll start from the top. So Dan, he chimed in early saying, love Taker's speech. Shocked no Foley mention. There were a couple different instances and people I was surprised he didn't mention, but let's be real. I mean, the guy would have to go on for the entire day to name every single person and instance and events. I thought, and I was very surprised he didn't mention the streak and the streak ending and a little behind the scenes. But guess what? I mean,
but if you go back to the last ride, documentary,
it covered all of it. Sure,
it covered the Foley stuff. It covered the streak, right? This was more of a, you guys got my documentary, but I never got a goodbye.
No,
and you guys never got to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what tonight was.
We talked about this when The Undertaker, and Andy, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if they were still in the Fan Dome or whatever they were called. What was it? Thunderdome? What's the Fandom? Is that the Marvel thing for Comic Con?
So.
I don't know. All these freaking domes now. When he had his goodbye as The Undertaker, I believe it was on a SmackDown. Were there fans back? I don't believe so. Because I feel like we were watching it and we were saying, damn, we wish it was in front of crowds. And then we had a conversation on, I think, this very program. And we said, that was The Undertaker's goodbye. The Hall of Fame will be Mark Calloway's goodbye.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was still, they weren't back with crowds yet. when he did his goodbye and everything like that, and left it all in the ring, so to say.
Mhm.
And I do remember that conversation happening.
Edie, he says, great speech from the Undertaker. He deserves it. Absolutely.
I honestly, I watched SmackDown not knowing how things were going to go tonight. I was like, let me have SmackDown on my iPad, but on my TV I had Peacock loaded up, and it said the Hall of Fame was going to be 3 hours. I swear to God, I thought they were going to let him talk the whole 3 hours.
I wouldn't have been against it.
Me neither.
I wouldn't have been against it at all. Don chiming in numerous times when he says, you deserve it, you deserve it. He was also asking, he said, so we're not talking Sixer today? No, no Sixers today. For numerous reasons, Don, but we'll just say, because it's the Undertaker. We'll just say because.
And I'm here.
Yeah, yes. And also because I'm in a good mood right now. I do not. I don't want that to change. Eric Stott chiming in saying, what an awesome speech. It absolutely was. Hills chiming in with the Meltzer bomb. Saying Meltzer just said it's a 50-50 chance Rollins faces Undertaker tomorrow night. Let's go. So I want that to lead into something, Andy. Okay.
Because Butters said the same thing to me.
Did he?
Butters said
a Butters bomb.
So Butters messaged me, because I messaged him when we started talking about the show, and I was like, "Are you home?" And he said, "No, I'm at the office at work. I just turned it on because now he sits in an office." Huh. He goes, "But I'm just spitballing here. Could he be Seth Rollins' opponent tomorrow?"
So I'll ask you, Andy, because Greg chimed in earlier saying one more match. Lee was saying never say never. A lot of comments in here noticing, and by the way, shout out to those friggin' fans in there. And listen, I know they had a long night. It was after SmackDown. But there were people heading for the exits when Undertaker was still in the ring. And this is before I knew that he was going to go back on, grab the trench coat, the hat, say never. And I'm thinking to myself, as they're going up the steps, I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't do
that if I were you.
I wouldn't have. And that was the thing. Like, when he never really touched on the jackets behind him, I knew they were going to play a point later, like after he was done speaking somehow. Right? It was almost like that's his favorite jacket that he put on.
Yeah.
And his favorite hat. Like, that was his favorite era of him. And when he says to never say never, see, now that makes me really mad. Though, let me tell you why.
That some people left?
Yeah, because if Marvel has taught us nothing,
thank you.
and if wrestling has taught us nothing, Jackson and I always make jokes about it. How the title card means nothing anymore. Ever since the Tommaso Ciampa, the DIY split where Tommaso threw Johnny into the screen.
Yeah, and you
your
saw
title
the end
card.
Yeah, title card, exactly.
Yeah, your title card means nothing anymore. You wait until they say, all right, everybody, thanks for coming. We'll see you all tomorrow night for WrestleMania.
I'm not leaving until I see the friggin' janitor in the ring. I don't know about you. I don't need a damn announcement. And here's the thing. I'll make another connection. You connected it to NXT. I'll connect it to all, the worldwide, and that's the world of sports. There's an old phrase that you could talk about in any sport. And I will say this as a message to those fans that decided to go up the steps and, I got to beat the traffic. No, you don't. You're fine. It's fine. But you play until the damn whistle, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. Play it. Like you hung on that entire time. You can't. Come on now.
What's a few more minutes?
Just. And here's the thing. You knew if he said nothing else. You knew he was doing the damn pose on the stage.
Yep.
I thought, what I honestly thought, and this is why when he said never say never, the pop was even bigger in my house. I don't know if I might have woken up the entire house.
Oh, my roommates aren't asleep anymore.
No, I knew they should have been prepped for that regardless of what happened tonight. And that is, to be honest with you, I thought he was going to do the pose in the ring with the dark light. You know what I'm saying? With the I thought that's what he was going to do. He was going to put on the Undertaker one last time, as if he came in as Mark Calloway, but the last time we would see the Undertaker is as the Undertaker.
Yeah,
I didn't think he was going to say what he said. I didn't see that coming.
No, and I even thought too, like he was going to walk up on stage and like stare somebody down or something like that. Because if you notice, you don't see Seth at all tonight. There were certain people you were noticeably absent There was no shots of them.
Andy,
See, and this makes me mad because I'm at a work thing tomorrow night.
So is the Seth Rollins thing really tomorrow? Is it 100%?
Yes.
Oh my damn.
So what I'm going to do, and I've already said, I've said it on air last week, I've said it on air the last couple weeks. I'm going to have my phone with me. I'm going to put an AirPod in, and I'm going to keep my eye on Twitter. And when somebody says Seth is coming to the ring, I'm firing up the Peacock Network. And I'm grabbing anybody near me with a pulse to just start filming me.
Yeah, it's to be honest with you, and like I wish it was night 2 because like pull the curtain back, as Undertaker mentioned numerous times as he did tonight. Like Frank, myself, Ralphie, I believe Jake, Pete, and Chrome were having a little gathering for night 2. We're gonna watch it over at Chrome's, and if we were all together and the Undertaker freaking that house is getting torn up. House is getting torn up.
We're gonna be doing a live show on Sunday, and we're just gonna feel the earth move. And what the hell just happened? And that's when I'll find out that Undertaker showed up because of the delay, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'll ask the fam. It was going to be our poll, even though I don't think this show needs a poll because it's a friggin' Undertaker. Are we going to see the dead man one more friggin' time? Because I didn't think I'd be ever asking that question ever again.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd be having this conversation after like he literally. But here's the thing. Before we answer the question, though, think of what the Undertaker has done for 30 years. He has kept himself relevant, and he has kept us all guessing.
Of course.
This man, what a move it would be if his final act on WWE TV was to rib and swerve the entire fan base. To where now the conversation is not Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. It's now Seth Rollins versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Real quick, Philly Sports Passion he said never say never on April Fool's Day. Technically, he didn't because it was past midnight, at least on my time.
So, but they were here in Texas.
Damn it, Andy.
So
at least let it fit my narrative.
No, your narrative is wrong. But here it was still April 1st, so that's not really.
I gotta think Undertaker's beyond April. I mean, he's above this. He's above April Fools, Mr. Ritter.
Bro,
come on now, Andy. He's above
the Undertaker.
This. Okay.
You heard his comments about Michelle, and then how how the Godfather's a bad influence.
Is he lying?
No.
I was gonna say, is that an April Fool's joke, or is that a shoot?
Man. Put up Hill's comment for a second.
This one?
Yeah, only if you do that over on Twitch.
Yes.
Just saying.
Don't say Ryan. Just let the man rest.
And you know what though? I don't normally agree with Don, just out of pure principle. But I'm going to agree with Don here, mostly because I can't promise what's going to come out of my mouth tomorrow if it's The Undertaker. And I'm going to be surrounded by, like, very important people I work with. So
and you'll be recorded.
Oh, yeah, and I'm 100% going to get it recorded. Like there's going to be music and stuff, so I'm going to purposely grab somebody, and we're going to walk away from all the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do that so we can actually use it.
Yeah, like, can I, like, I'll be completely honest with you. Like, I'm having fun with it. If I'm giving the most genuine, honest answer to do I believe we will see him again? No, because I mean, what has Undertaker been his entire career? I mean, I make the argument he's the greatest wrestler ever, but I'm not going to make that argument because I know there's a lot others that rival it. He's by far the best storyteller of all time. And what better of a way for the man to end his retirement / Hall of Fame speech than to leave one story open just in case we want to have some fun and do a show at 1:33 in the morning.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah, and it makes people want more. And look at people like Ric Flair who've gotten back in the ring. Hogan, Sting. Sting is over on AEW, still killing it right now. You leave that door open to where you can turn around in a few years and be like, let's go.
mm-hmm.
Right? If he does it tomorrow, I'll lose my mind.
Oh, I think if he shows up at any point, I mean, tomorrow, especially because it's fresh and that's going to be the conversation, that's going to be the speculation. I could see all of the articles written all throughout the
That's
WWE.
the soundbite for the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the soundbite of the year, arguably. I just think it's the storyteller in him that's like, okay, I'm going to have fun with this. It's kind of like, I'll give you, and this is a credit to like the fact that I'm comparing this director to The Undertaker. So it's a compliment in that sense. But like Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors of all time. Mm-hmm. And the biggest reason is that a lot of his movies, it ends with the audience left guessing, left telling their own story, left their own interpretation, their minds open, no doors being closed.
Kind of like the end of Dark Knight Rises.
Listen, man, you want the show to be 3 hours?
Hey, I got time. I got all the time in the world.
I think it's very much, hey, let's have fun with this, and let's make one more WrestleMania weekend moment. Not technically WrestleMania moment, but
yeah,
I would be very surprised because he has nothing left to prove. Honestly.
No, and it doesn't fit the narrative of the Seth Rollins story.
And somebody said in here, Robo says, Undertaker has nothing left to prove, and no one would be mad if he doesn't show up tomorrow. That's correct.
Because now, every time there's a big event or there's there's some uncertainty about something, now we can still say, well, maybe Undertaker will show up here.
Yep, 100%.
Royal Rumble next year. Hey, Undertaker could be one of the surprises. He said never say never.
Yeah.
Right?
Could you imagine that? Oh, God. Well, you know what's funny, too? I did like the memes where, like, what do they call these now? The Saudi Arabia pay-per-views. What do they call that?
Crown Jewel or whatever we're calling them.
Somebody was like, the first comment on the announcer, on the post from WWE where it said never say never.
Yeah.
First comment was a meme. It said, the Prince of Saudi Arabia right now, and it's just a meme of somebody saying, get on the phone, get on the phone, get on the phone.
It's the meme of shut up and take my money.
Yep. It's like, somebody take my money, please. I'll ask you though.
Sure.
Because now it's kind of like, this has to be the Undertaker tomorrow. It has to be. Does that now make a certain Rhodes individual, his debut / return, a little lukewarm? Like, could this end up backfiring to where, oh my God, it's not the Undertaker?
No, because I go back to Robble's point right here, right?
Okay.
Nobody's going to be mad if he doesn't show up.
Correct.
Right? I think, there will be some people that will be a little upset, it'll almost be like it would be cool if it was the Undertaker. But I don't see anybody being upset. Plus, Cody he's the hottest free agent out there right now.
Yep.
And everybody's expecting him to show up and take on Seth Rollins. This has become a narrative because it's fun to think that the Undertaker will get back in the ring. Yeah,
of course. Real quick, you do think it's Cody, right? You don't think it's going to be Mr. Shane? It's not going to be Shane, right?
If it's Shane, expect hellfire on Sunday from me.
Well, if it's Shane, the Undertaker better friggin' show up and take them both out.
If it's Shane, expect hellfire from me on Sunday.
Hellfire from everybody. God.
Yeah.
You want to give, because numerous people have been asking this, and with favorite Undertaker, like your favorite Undertaker memory.
So, one that the first one that comes to mind, because there are a lot, right? I'm probably the resident Undertaker fan here. Fuck off, Diamond. It's Survivor Series. Randy Orton and Team SmackDown win. The Druids bring out the casket. The lightning strikes the casket. He kicks the thing down and goes and levels everybody. And takes Nunzio and puts him 10 feet in the air and drops him. That's very high up on my list. The Ministry of Darkness stuff is up there as well. Like the Unholy Wedding with Stephanie is up there.
It's the best theme of all time, by the way. I'm just
also you. Yes. And then I would probably say the whole angle with Shawn leading up to 25.
Yeah. Yep.
It's those are, don't get me wrong, I have a lot more, right? But when I think of like my top 3 Taker moments, it would be that return, the Unholy Wedding and everything that surrounded that Ministry of Darkness era that he was doing before it started getting diluted with the corporation. And then the fuck, it was me, Austin. God damn it. The WrestleMania 25 build with him and Michaels.
So I'll give you 2, okay? Because the one is my favorite, but it sounds a little weird to say because the most choked up emotional moment I have ever been as a wrestling fan was the moment where we all thought, and a lot of us I still think wish it was his final WrestleMania moment, and that was when he lost to Roman Reigns. He puts his gear in the ring, walks down the aisle, and he's lowered into the ground.
Yep.
With the pose.
So we were actually, that was before we joined HD Radio. I was telling the story the other day. We were live for that on
2015, right? I believe it was 2015.
Yeah, we had just started doing the show, me and Jackson. We did this. It was the worst setup on the face of the earth because of just how the room was set up. We were at my parents' house. And if you go back and you watch that, because I think it's still on our Facebook page, I don't say a word. I am like on the floor staring up at this TV, speechless. So it's a memory I don't like to talk about. But go ahead.
So to me, and like Hill says, like, Brodo, you cried when he lost to Reigns. No, listen, everybody in that arena knew he was losing that night. It was written. It was written on the walls. It was how perfect of an end. I mean, that ended WrestleMania.
Yep.
There was no good night, everybody. It was literally. I mean,
there's no feel good moment.
Yeah, exactly. And it was. There's not a person in the world who thought that wasn't it. That this is the last time you're going to see this man in a WWE environment.
And it was solidified the next night when Raw opens up with all the stuff in the ring still.
It was, and that's why I will say, like, that 24-hour period from the ending of that to the thing I alluded to at the open, which was the near 8 minutes long of boos, you suck on Roman Reigns. In a way, it was an eerie passing of the torch. Because you passed along not a crowd favorite, because Roman Reigns was definitely not a crowd favorite that night, but it was, okay, kid, you beating me is going to elicit a response that nobody has ever seen, and up until tonight, nobody's ever going to see ever again. And it was because one man, and that was The Undertaker. The other one, which holds very true to me, I know the match wasn't awesome in a lot of people's minds, but as a kid who at the time still believed that the whole Undertaker Kane Brothers of Destruction was real, to where I was asking my father, oh my God, did you know that they're brothers? Like, I thought, like, it was real. When he returned at Madison Square Garden as the Undertaker with Paul Bearer's voice, with the Druids, and the one Druid accidentally bursting into flames, and his tarp bursting into flames, and then the friggin' fire extinguisher coming out.
It's funny that you bring that one up. When we were talking today at work, the one girl's like, "Who are y'all talking about?" Like, what?
Shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
We're like, The Undertaker. And she goes, wait, that weird guy from wrestling? I was like, yeah. Because we were talking about the entrance and how, have you ever experienced an Undertaker entrance live?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. You've been to wrestling shows though, right?
No.
You've never been to a show?
No.
Okay. The next show that is near you, and I'm going, I'm taking you.
Okay. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Okay. But it's really warm in there because they got all the lights and everything like that and all the screens and whatnot. When that gong hits and the lights go off, it drops like 20 degrees.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
It's like ice hockey cold in there. And so it just, that builds that aura. And that's what we showed her the WrestleMania 20 entrance.
Well, and for anyone who doesn't understand, like, or doesn't believe what Andy's saying, I absolutely believe for somebody who hasn't experienced in life, because if you take an arena, right, and even if there's even if there's fans in it, and if you eliminate the light, all it is a big warehouse. It's a big warehouse with open space. So there's nowhere where the heat's going to go. You know what I'm saying? So of course it's going to. It's all it is. It's a big warehouse with lights. I mean, listen, he's the greatest performer of all time. He's the greatest character of all time, because I will argue this until I'm blue in the face, because, again, like, wrestler, like, how do we define wrestler? How do we define superstar? Like, there's so many friggin' definitions and gray areas, but to me, he will always be number one on whatever you want to title the list, because of the relevance that he's maintained, which you touched on, the respect that he both deserves and gets, the response that he gets, and also there is not another human being. Listen, they would have tried it. Probably it might have been okay. There is not another human being that could have been given this character and it would have worked to this degree. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been good if, say, Kane got it or someone else got it, but it never would have been what this has been for the last 30 plus years.
Well, and think about it though, like to expand on your comment more, he did the same, with the exception of the 2 years he was the American Badass, he was the same character for 30 years. Nobody has been the same character that long.
No, and even
without drastic changes. This guy, the only thing he did was hang up the cloak for a bike at one point.
And to that, Andy, and this is something that I think about a lot when we either watch The Undertaker, we go back on the network or whatever the hell they call it now, the Peacock Network. And that is the fact that he was able to, I almost say flawlessly, make the transition from The Undertaker to the Ministry of Darkness, and then pull it off to a guy on a friggin' motorcycle. Like, he went from a dead guy to a motorcycle. So, like, and then make the transition back. And, like, just the fan in me, if I'm living it in real time, I'm like, wasn't this guy dead 2 weeks ago? This guy's on a bike now. And nobody talks about, like, okay, you're a biker guy now? Cool. That's fine. I buy it. And then, you got buried and now you're back to being dead? Okay, cool. I buy it.
Everybody just took it at face value.
Yeah, like, cool. Oh, you're coming out to Limp Bizkit? Okay, great. Awesome. You have the American flag? Oh, great. America.
Nobody said a damn word about it.
Oh, like, nobody talks about, like, a complete 180.
We have bitched and complained on our show, on Lazy Booking, on anything, when a character 180s themselves with no explanation.
Andy, when Dolph Ziggler got a new haircut, it almost ended his damn career. When he
Undertaker comes back to life and shows up on a motorcycle to beat up Triple H and cost The Rock the title,
waving the American flag.
Yeah, all right, cool. We'll see you Monday.
And everybody else, you change your ring gear. You change your name to Butch.
Keith Lee grew a beard, and everybody went to hell.
You change your name to Bearcat or Butch, and you're done. You're buried. You wear a Viking helmet when you're carrying across. You're done. This guy went from being dead to on a bike. Oh, okay, great. Take my money. in the Attitude Era, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like the most, like that was like the most like, okay, that was like, okay, don't mess with the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era featured a dead guy going onto a bike. And it worked.
They worked flawlessly.
Yes. I could talk forever about this guy.
I could too. I was messaging Pete, and because while you and I were talking, me and Pete were talking, and I said, Pete, I can do a whole show on just this, on just the Undertaker, which we did. We actually did after the last ride, last year.
And I think you did. I think you did after he had his moment on SmackDown too.
I think I did too.
Because it would have been the next day. It would have been the next day right after that.
So we've done many a show on the Undertaker, and I never feel like it does it justice.
And listen, Andy, I'm sure there'll be a time where there's probably going to be another Undertaker show for other than why the hell not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need to step in front of a microphone and into a squared circle ever
He'll
again.
sneeze and we'll do a show.
He'll end up on a friggin' podcast and be like, did you hear what the Undertaker said? He said never say never again. He said never say never.
And now, like, after meeting him a few weeks ago.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
It was like seeing that transition. All right, here's this character on TV, this larger than life entity, to meeting him and going, oh, it's a big motherfucker. To seeing him in a WWE ring as himself.
Yep.
It was like a full circle, just like I was sitting here just going, wow. I really wish I would have said something. You know, like said so many things run through your mind. You're like, I really wish I would have said something to him that day instead of just, hey, you know, nice to meet you. Right. But again, big motherfucker.
Oh, I wouldn't have been able to speak if I was in the room.
It was so nerve-wracking because I went, my roommate and his girlfriend, and I love them to death. You've met Brittany and Joe.
Yeah.
They went with me, and they didn't have tickets for anything, so they were standing off to the side looking at like some of the collectibles. So I'm just standing in line, like so much is running through my head. I'm going, I'm about to meet like this is like my favorite wrestler of all time, and the kid in me is just screaming. Like I've never been starstruck. I've met Jason David Frank. I met Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch. We did WrestleMania Access at 35. Met a ton of people there. Turning the corner and seeing that son of a bitch, I forgot everything.
Oh no, I don't blame you. And it's funny, like drawing it back to like what we do, and you know, Chrome, and you know, you've been a part of you know, a lot of them. You know, Chrome's had guests on, especially during, you know, quarantine and everything. I've gotten asked a handful of times while doing this on ATD, like, you know, if you had to name a handful of like your bucket list interviews, there's two that always come to mind, and it's funny because you'll get this because you know me, but like the two people I always go to, it's Tiger Woods,
yep,
and it's the Undertaker,
yep,
and damn, those are two different people,
very different people.
But it's like those are two people that I don't know if I would be able to say 5 words. Like, I don't know if I would have so much to say, but I don't know if I would have the ability to say or illustrate or articulate such words.
It takes me back to when we interviewed Ken Shamrock. Do you remember the for lack of a better phrase, the green room before that show?
100%.
We were all terrified. And the only person that wasn't showing that they were terrified was Chrome. Come to find out after the show, he was scared shitless. Well, his words, not mine. But
there was a point of the show, Andy, to your point, that he went to go get his charger on his phone. I'll never forget this because I made memes of this afterwards. Him charging through the door with the Shamrock music in the background.
Yeah,
and I remember we all looked at each other like, yeah, "Is this happening? Is this
because this was like our first big, I won't say big, right? Because it was the first one I was a part of, right? And like I remember we actually all read the book and we did all this like homework on it, and we were only getting like 45 minutes, and we're like, all right, you know, we have a lot to talk about, but we don't have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just looks at us. You guys mind if I go get my charger? I looked up at Chrome and he's like, yeah, absolutely. It's like, thank God. But I feel like that's how it would be with the Undertaker, right?
Oh yeah.
We would all be so nervous and so scared to do something like this.
Yep.
You know. But it's just crazy to think that, like, I haven't felt this way, and again, I referenced the Ken Shamrock interview. I haven't felt this way since the Ken Shamrock interview. Like the amp and the hype and all that. Like, I have the same feeling I did that night when he cut that 110% promo.
Oh my god! Speaking about running through a friggin' brick wall,
right? And it was like I got really hyped last night when they did the set. When they Dude Perfect debuted the set and everything like that.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
I got really hyped for that. Like, that was the first time for this WrestleMania build that I got hyped.
Yeah, it was like, okay, it's WrestleMania time. It was the first. It kind of hit me.
Yeah, especially because I'm not going this year, and I'm missing night one. So to Hill's question, live reactions on Saturday or Sunday. We're gonna do Sunday. I have a work thing tomorrow, and I say a work thing, but it's one of those things where it's really good that you show up to it, like you save face kind of thing, right? I could probably get away with not going, but
are you allowed to have your phone on your lap with the Peacock Network streaming the WrestleMania?
It's a cook-off.
Oh, is it the chili? Is it the chili? Is the chili cook-off?
No, it's a barbecue cook-off.
Okay.
It's the most informal thing on the planet, but my owner, like the owner of the dealership, his 86-year-old ass sits out there till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So, and I'm like one of the only ones from the sales department that goes. So it's like, I should go.
Yeah.
Right? It saves space. So we're going to live react on Sunday to everything. And now that I know all of you guys are going to be at Crone's house, I got to figure out who's going to help us with this.
Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Even if I have to bring a damn computer. Ralph will be in the room. I'll put Ralph to work. It's fine.
Yeah, but then again, it might be good having a live feed to y'all.
I thought of that. I mean, not live because us in front of a live camera in that atmosphere. I think there's going to be NBA Jam too. It's going to get wild in there.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to.
I mean, it's good. So maybe a record session might be better.
Yeah, we'll be live.
Listen, I will say if something crazy happens, I'm sure there'll be some kind of content from that gathering.
Yeah.
But it'll be good. I mean, listen, you'll get a lot of stuff from the weekend, and especially if a certain individual shows up tomorrow, you might get something early from Mr. Ritz tomorrow night.
Yeah, I don't put it past me because I know Butters is off tomorrow night. So if things start winding down, right, and I get home and I can do certain, don't be surprised.
I mean, listen, it's 2 a.m. here right now. I mean, you can always do a late thing,
right? But I'm speechless, but I'm not speechless. I still can't get. I'm gonna watch it again. Like, I have downtime tomorrow. I might just put it on tomorrow before staying and deliver.
Yeah, I gotta. It'll be tough for me to watch it again this weekend because I'll be moving and shaking. But the next time I'm able to watch it, I mean, it won't be. I can promise you, it won't be the last time I watch it. And I'll end it with this. My last thought is like, we did a impromptu show, right? At 2 a.m. my time. It'll be what, 1 a.m. your time?
Yeah, it's almost 1 a.m. my time. Yeah.
Reacting to not a match, not an event, not a finals game 7, not a Sixers 28-point blown lead, which there have been a handful, and I'm sure there'll be a couple more. Not an Eagles game. It was a Hall of Fame. Not a
Super Bowl. It was a guy talking for about an hour.
Yeah, not a NBA Finals, especially not in Philadelphia. It was NHL a guy. Finals. Oh, no, don't get me started. Matt's awake somewhere. Matt is awake somewhere. Okay. Talking about a Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame speech. And I didn't think twice about it. Didn't think twice about it. Like, oh, Undertaker? Of course.
Let's go. All right, so yeah, that's a great note to end it on, right? I think Ryan hit everything nail on the head with his final thought. So, no In This Very Ring tomorrow night. Will be on Sunday. Me and Butters, we're gonna live react to night 2 of WrestleMania. I see Edie wanting to know if there's any reactions to Stand and Deliver tomorrow. No, I will be working tomorrow, so I will not probably catch Stand and Deliver in its entirety. I'll have to watch it in bits and pieces. So I'm more amped now for WrestleMania to the point where it's a strong consideration of do I still go to the cook-off tomorrow night?
Well, can I help you with that decision?
Sure.
So when theoretically your time will you be getting home?
So they say on paper it's going to end at 10 tomorrow night.
Okay, so how about this? Okay, why don't you, if something crazy happens, which I'm imagining, if it's something crazy doesn't happen in WrestleMania Night 1, I'm sure there'll be a lot of disappointed people. If something crazy happens, do a little impromptu thing like this.
Yeah, we could do that. So stay tuned for us, right? There may be something from us tomorrow night, but definitely live reactions on Sunday. And we'll recap everything. We'll recap Stand and Deliver. We'll recap night 1 if we don't do anything tomorrow night, and we'll live react to night 2. Ton of content for the week. I'm so excited. I can't wait. This went on a lot longer than this wasn't even supposed to be a full hour. We're almost at that hour mark.
Oh, good God. It's the first time I looked at the friggin' thing.
I glanced at it once or twice, and I'm impressed that certain people are still awake behind the scenes. But
he's gesturing.
Oh yeah, I see him.
He's gesturing.
But so, all right, guys, we will see you all definitely Sunday, if not possibly later today, since it's now Saturday.
Subscribe, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm sure there's a lot of new viewers. Definitely subscribe.
Like, subscribe, check us out. We'll see you all on Sunday for WrestleMania Night 2 reactions. For Ryan Brodo, I'm Rich. We thank Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. Tell somebody you love them. We'll see you all later.